Hi, writers. Today is session 11, and we're going to kind of take a step back from revision and think about our introduction. So mostly about the very beginning of your book. So even in a chapter book, there's an introduction chapter. In our book of frogs, that chapter is called Splash. It introduces frogs. In our book called Deadliest Animals, the introduction chapter kind of gets you set up for deadly surprises. So it kind of introduces what are we going to be learning about. I have a lot to cover on these slides. So here's a little story. Have you ever been asked to introduce someone you hardly know? It's kind of uncomfortable, right? So imagine you're standing in a little group of kids and a friend of your mom's comes up. And she stands there for a few minutes and then she says, "Aren't you going to introduce me?" And you're kind of like, well, you're thinking to yourself, well, I know her name, but she's a friend of my mom's, but like, what else am I supposed to say about this person? I don't really know her very well. That's so uncomfortable, right? Well, so writers need to make sure that they don't leave their reader feeling that way. It's uncomfortable because they don't know what the book is about. So you're today going to think about how to make your reader really comfortable and understand what they're gonna learn in your book. So today, specifically, you're going to ask, what do our mentor authors do when writing powerful introductions for informational writing? So remember, we're using all these books, these different books, to give us ideas about how to make our writing even better. So once you figure out what the mentor authors do, then you ask, how can I apply this to my writing? So let's take a look at somebody else's writing. Here's a book. It's from a book about baseball. And what I want you to do is you can read along with me here. And then I want you to think about how this author made this introduction so great. So you're ready? All right, read along with me. Play ball! Baseball fans love hearing those words. A Major League Baseball game, MLB, offers fans plenty of entertainment and interesting action. But a lot happens behind the scenes that fans never see. Behind every stolen base, there's a coach that flashes signals to the players. Every relief pitcher has a great bullpen story. During the game, coaches discuss strategy in the dugouts. Ground crews continually work to keep the field in tip-top shape. To understand the big picture, you have to look beyond the field. How do teams travel? What do they do before the first pitch? How do umpires prepare for a game? There's much more on to baseball than just the game on the field. That's such a solid introduction. Do you know what you're going to learn in this book? What did the author do that's so fantastic? I can totally hear you all the way through these little wires and stuff. It's so bizarre. I know, right? They use this very first thing, play ball. It sucks you in, right? We maybe don't go to baseball games all the time, but we sure know what that means. And then they kind of draw you in and say, hey, there's a whole bunch of stuff behind the scenes that you may or may not know about. And then they have bold words in their introduction. It's like so mind-blowing. And they talk about the different chapters. You can tell there's going to be a chapter about the grounds crew, right? And then this very last chapter, this very last paragraph, they're asking a whole bunch of questions. Did you notice that? So there's a question mark here, 1, 2, There's 3 questions in the last paragraph of the introduction. Do you have a question in your introduction? This is something you could try. So if you want to circle back to this, this is a great introduction. It's got a little bit of everything. I'm not going to have you do that. Let's see. So here's a chart of some of the things that really good writers do to write a powerful introduction. This is what I want you to try today. So start with a quote, just like that one, or a little bit of excitement. Go over the big topics that will come up in the book. You can tell what the chapters are going to be in that baseball book. Talk about the whole thing and its parts, not just the first part, but the whole book. And then ask questions to get the reader curious. Like ask questions and then answer them later in the book in your chapters. So very cool. Here's an example of a third grader's work. This writer says, see if you can guess what this book is about. In this book, you will learn some good parts about babysitting and the terrific, sarcastic word, parts of babysitting. You will also learn how to feed a bottle to a baby and lots more. After you read this book, you'll have a superstar babysitting service. You will also know how to play with a baby and lots more. So start reading. What's this book about? Babysitting. What are you going to learn? You're going to learn how to take care of a baby. You're going to learn, you're going to learn how to give a baby a bottle, how to play with a baby. What else could this writer have added? I bet you can think. But they did a really good job. So today your assignment is to do this kind of work. So I want you to start at the very beginning of your book. Some of you haven't even written your introduction, and that's fine because you need to know what your book's about before you write your introduction. Now that you've written your book, you can totally write your introduction, right? You know what's in each chapter. And so go back to that original introduction or write your first introduction and use these great strategies for making your introduction really, really, really interesting for your reader. Use that writer's checklist at the beginning in the language arts resources, but really cycle back to this chapter, slide 5, so that you can look and see what did this one do, and then look at the green box. See if you can do some of that in your chapters. And then, so you write the first introduction, the introduction for the whole book, and then each chapter has an introduction. So you're not done when you write one introduction. Each chapter has an introduction too. So you're introducing each topic one thing at a time, and that is your assignment today. So create a powerful introduction and then reread a chapter of your book at a time and decide if you have a powerful introduction for each chapter as well. And have fun. You guys are doing such a fantastic job. I'm really proud of you. It's great. Can't wait for you to share your books with each other.